Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Teju. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm super excited to be talking to you today. Thank you so much for joining us at Bridging the Gap to have interesting conversations around fashion. But most importantly, today we're going to be capturing your brand, Odiomimonet.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. So I'm just gonna dive into it. I'm going to ask you questions. And the essence of what it is that we look to achieve by Bridging the Gap is to have conversations around the business of fashion, about the creative aspect of business, and just general information for people that are looking to start a fashion business or people that generally just want to know about brands that are worthy of knowing about. So, yeah, so let's get into it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So obviously, I'm a fashion enthusiast, and I know who Odiomimonet is as a brand. But as a person, can you please tell us about yourself?
So Odiomimonet, this year it's going to be 30 years.
Wow, wow.
So that's amazing.
Absolutely.
We're one of the pioneer fashion brands that started here. So I remember 30 years ago saying I wanted to be a fashion designer, and my father was like, "What is that? What is it?" And I said, but luckily for him, he had many children. So he said, "Okay, you can go ahead and explore and be a designer." And I remember friends of his coming home and saying, "What would you like to be?" And I said, "I want to be a fashion designer." And they're like, "No, young lady, what do you really want to do?" And I said to my dad, "You know what? If your friends don't want to hear what I want to say, please, they should stop asking me." And I'm sure then it was new to him. But I thank the Lord for him. I thank the Lord for everybody around me who believed in that dream. So as a kid at about 14, 15, I used to sign my name around the house.
Wow.
And my name is Odio. And Mimi was a pseudonym to me. Mimi Rogers was a pseudonym to me. And I was an artist. I used to paint a lot. So Claude Monet was my favorite artist at that point in time. And that's how we had the name Me Monet. And I used to sign it. And of course, they saw you sign into future what you want. And so Odiomimonet Monet was born.
Wow.
So yes. So the business itself, the fashion brand itself was a reflection of my love for art. And henceforth it has carried through. And as we grew to be strong Africans who we are, it's carried through art and culture, which are totally infused with one another. So that's where we are.
That is beautiful. Such a beautiful story. And it makes sense because I've often wondered, like, where did the name Odiomimonet, the Mimonet part come from? So that explains a lot. Um, so we're going to dive into who you are as a person. Like, what got you to this point? Were you inspired by your art to actually create? Because some people have actually described your brand as wearable art. So, what made you think fashion designing, especially in an era when it wasn't a popular thing to do, especially here in Nigeria?
Okay, so they always say that about maybe middle kids or middle kids, because I was probably the third and fourth, because I'm a twin. So I was the third and fourth of my father, who had then had quite a few children. I guess when you have dreams of great grandiose as you grow up as a kid, there are things that you see, and for me, I love that. For me, every human being I met was clothed.
Wow.
And I wanted to be that person that clothed each person. I mean, Pastor, what where we are now, we're 8 billion people on earth. 8.3 are here. Can you imagine if an African brand could clothe, let's even say an African brand could clothe 10% of that? That would be crazy.
Absolutely.
And so the service to mankind was clothing people, but also it was also a great point in which our culture or our arts can be seen, and very well pivoted as well. So that's where we are, trying still to get to that point where we can be a laudable name or a great name to be known, dressing and keeping people up for many years. So even as Africans, how many are we Africans do we have in the world? We can even have 10% of that.
Exactly.
Of that. It says a lot. So
that's amazing and very, very, very true statement that you've made there. So I do want us to talk about a lot about the creativity aspect of the business. So you were very good at arts, or you were into the arts, and then at some point you decide, I want to, because I mean, when you see somebody, you say, I want to dress the person up. Did you start looking at textiles? Like how did the whole journey begin?
So my journey started, or my later journey started. I remember doing my A levels in the UK. My later journey started me loving economics, me loving drawing, painting. I love that a lot. But me also sketching figurines, because your art, you're always learning, you're sketching figurines and stuff, and that for me was a thing. But more so, I wouldn't say I was someone that made dolls into things. No, I just wasn't that person. I was just someone that sketched a lot. Okay. My fashion illustration was a lot, and I loved to shade people in and all that. So for me, I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew that I wanted this, my love for art and this, my love for fashion, to manifest in a way. I remember finishing fashion school and my dad saying to me, okay, where do you want to start? Do you want to start here or do you want to start abroad? And I remember him saying to me, okay, there's an opportunity that has come up abroad and I want you to stay. And I burst into tears. I said, no, because I knew I wanted it, but I was still so scared of how it will evolve. Yeah. So, of course, I started humbly in my dad's boys' quarters, starting sewing for a few people. I made my own wedding dress, sewing, little, before I now was brave enough to take on a store in Bia. And we've been here ever since, going from small to smaller to bigger and bigger. And now we're here. So
amazing.
I think the journey is resilience. The journey is resilience. And then we started off with Ankara pieces. We wanted people to be able to wear tailored pieces to the office and still look as elegant as wearing a suit. Because you're in Africa.
Exactly.
Why am I wearing a suit to work when I'm hot, the lining, everything in there? I mean, what am I doing? Do you understand? So we then used to start, we started with Ankara tops and bottoms, and they were so elegant and regal. And if you travel where you will know that in different parts of Africa, at that point in time too, people used to wear very elegant long piece, long skirt or three-quarter skirt. And we looked just a picture. And I think a greater part of our journey now is the fact that we've all embraced our identity. And I think there's never been a better time too. And I think it's great because it makes for a better us.
Absolutely, absolutely. When I think about your brand, I definitely identify, or I look at you as, a visionary, in the sense that you're able to project. I mean, now it's cool to be a fashion designer in Africa.
Yes, it is.
But at that time, it was painful to start a business from scratch and to, first of all, look at the textile that you wanted to use or how you wanted to set your own brand apart, so to speak. So I would definitely say you are somebody that could see the future, or you could see something that wasn't quite existing at the time.
It wasn't, yes, but of course we give God the glory.
Yes, of course.
I think for us, our pieces, our cotton, our adiware, they're made in such a way that when you put them upon your skin, especially when you use the right kind of cotton and everything, it just slips on you. Do you understand? So I used to wonder why we would now go and put polyester, polythene, we'll mix it, and then we'll say we're wearing it. So it just wasn't me. So it always called to me to embrace what we had, our indigos, our inks, our colors. So they say we're a happy race. They say we're happy people. But we're happy people more also because of all the energies around us. And a lot of them comes from our our community, it comes from our environment, and our colors is one of it, our soil is one of it, our fabrics is one of it. I think that whole energy is what the world is embracing now.
Exactly.
The love of us.
It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing to see.
Yeah.
So obviously your brand has been identified as one of the sustainable brands that we have, especially for the reasons that you just mentioned in terms of the textiles that you use in particular. The different textiles that you use are, like you said, they're not like hormone disruptors or anything that necessarily affects the skin or anything like that. So would you like to speak to anything concerning sustainability or the future of sustainability?
Okay, so I'll take the word sustainability. I'll turn it back to you. I'll tell you how we, as Africans, have always been sustainable. If you remember, as we grew up, we were never one for waste. Your auntie or your brother or your sister passed down things to you.
Yeah.
It was a cultural thing. We didn't have a name for it. But we knew that we were kinder to our earth, we were kinder to ourselves, we were kinder to our people.
Yeah.
So now take us back to us, how we use it. We try and make sure we have as little waste as possible. So we do a cut off on a dress, the dress, that part is not to be thrown away, no. We always turn around and think of how it can be used again. Now we've started making homeware where we use things into our tablecloths and tablewares. But even our pieces are usually a juxtaposition of colors, of textures together. And when we are having juxtaposition of colors and textures together, surely they are. Whatever your cutoffs are going to be used again and again and again. So waste is not something we believe in. But two, unlike the race of fashion that we have mostly in the West, like the race of fashion that we have, we don't have four seasons. We have 2 seasons. And our pieces are more classic. So in which case, I have clients come to me and say, Odio, somebody came in last week. She had a dress that she had made 20 years ago.
Wow.
She brought it in to have some part of it stitched. So I just said to her, you're so lucky. After 20 years. After 20 years, your size can still fit. You're so lucky. So we're not one for waste, one. But our pieces, trendy as they may be, classic as they may be, because like we have used the word wearable art, which we are, there are things that can come back and come back and come back again. They're timeless. And unlike this fast world of trends that we do here, everywhere else, where next year you want to throw it away and do something else, no. We don't believe in that. So we try and make sure our pieces are as timeless as possible. And that helps with our sustainability as well. So it's not just the recycling our pieces and doing other things with our pieces, but it's also me making sure that whatever you buy has enough value.
Yes.
And it stays in your wardrobe long enough. So we're not thinking, okay, I'm going to dump it now and I need another one. Do you understand?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I think we all have to be kinder to our world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I think that's it.
It is an interesting thing because now, even fashion brands are now upscaling. Like now they're upcycling. So, someone that has a dress, like you said, a lady that had dress 20 years ago, like that. First of all, that's admirable. That she can actually still bring a piece.
I said, you can still wear it. I said, my size has kind of changed. I said, ma'am, you've done so well, sir. I said, this is like, I probably said like 15 years. She said, no, it's 20. Then we go to date calculation. I was like, what? And you can still fit in there.
Yeah.
So that's admirable in everything.
Very. And
that speaks the quality of things.
Exactly what I wanted to nail that wow, it speaks a lot to the quality of your stuff. Like, the first time I came into your store in VI, I felt like a kid in a candy store because first of all, everything is just so vibrant and beautiful. The explosion of colors, but everything makes sense. It's not colors, just random colors splashing. Like, it's a story. It's like every piece tells a story.
Correct.
And then also the diversity of it all. I feel like you make your pieces in such a way that it tells a story. So you have your beautiful boo-boos where you have like the checkered signature. That's like your signature look.
Yeah.
But then you also have your corsets for the woman that wants to be snatched and wants to look,
Correct.
a certain way. But then you also have pieces that are beaded,
Correct.
that are extravagant. And then you also have your silk pieces. And so I remember feeling like, wow, there's something for every woman in this store.
Correct.
And so with that being said, how would you describe the Odiomimonet woman?
Okay, so I'll start, before I describe the woman, I'd say that because we started the couture brand 30 years ago, I'll tell you what allowed us to start the ready-to-wear brand, which we started about 20 years ago. And the couture brand is called Voyage. And if you listen to the name of that, it explains to you what I want what we hope for the Odio woman that wears it. She's a woman that takes a voyage with us on every piece that she wears. So not only is she well-traveled, she's seasoned. She's someone that seeks to explore. She's someone that appreciates art. And she's the woman that dreams. Still being functional. So this is me wearing this piece. Yes, I dream of being, because the Agbada, we started to play with the Agbada about 8 or 9 years ago, and we kind of drove the movement of the resurrection of the male Agbada on the female. And that was pre-COVID, and then we started with lighter fabrics, and then later we moved into the checks. And that has started a tsunami of Agbadas now being, all of us waking up to the love of Agbadas from all designers, which is great. But what that tells us is that when we wanted to move into wearing male Agbada, it was trying to embrace the masculinity and the femininity of every woman in herself. Because in those days, as much as we like to say, oh, the woman is feminine and she's quiet and she works. The fact that she takes care of her brood, the fact that she goes out there, she's the woman that stays at the gate to make sure that she wakes up early in the morning, she makes sure that her brood is ready, she makes sure that food is on the table, she makes sure that. So for that woman, you have to embrace a little bit of masculinity. You are not so shy and withered. And that is what the Agbada did for you. You were able to wear it on and you were able to embrace who you are. Even though we made it in a more feminine way, we put in more feminine colors. We made it shorter. We gave you gingham hair, which is to embrace your childhoodness of that being a kid and all that school uniform that we all wore and those kind of things. We played with it a bit. It was to bring some art and some color into it, but it was to help us embrace it. And if you go back again many, many years, you will see that we always wore the boo-boos, right? And the boo-boos are really Agbadas, but maybe without embroidery, maybe without the neck cut, but they're still who we are. So who is the Odiomimonet woman? She's strong. She's strong, but she's still playful. She's fun, but she's functional. She's well-traveled. She's seasoned. And because we also are a somewhat modest brand, even though we're cheeky, but not too cheeky, that's a woman that is proud to be celebrated. That's a woman that's proud for you to get to know who she really is, rather than just what she looks like. Do you understand? So she's a woman that's complex, but she's a happy woman. She's functional. So she picks her kids from school. She does everything she needs to do. She loves art. She takes time out and she enjoys some Mozart. She enjoys some African music. She enjoys, some African juju music and all that. But she still is true to herself. And that's what the Odio woman is.
Beautiful. That is so beautiful. Thank you for walking us through that. Absolutely. A lot of people don't, like you said, it's so much to be able to, successfully run a fashion brand. I often look at it as an equation because, I know, once upon a time, and I know people are waking up to the fact that it's not a joke to be a fashion designer or to own a fashion brand.
Yeah.
There's so many different aspects of the business that you need to consider. You have to look at things from a financial perspective.
Sure.
You have to look at things from a creative perspective, like how do I want the brand to continue to evolve? We
Right.
started with this collection. We would like to do something different for the next collection, but still not lose the essence of what it is, of who we are, right? The vision. What's the vision of the business? What is the mission of the business? How do we even want to empower society, like, you know, the economy in terms of hiring the right people? And, you know, it's just so many moving parts that go into running a fashion business. And so when people look at it like it's fluff, it's like, you have no idea what it takes.
So I say to people a lot that fashion, some people think fashion is glamorous, but fashion is glamorous for the end user.
Exactly.
And maybe in the journey while you're dreaming, the dreaming part, fashion can be a bit glamorous. But fashion is hard work because you have to understand your consumer. You have to understand your consumer, and you also have to understand your vision, and you have to carry it ahead. And we keep saying we give ourselves a badge to be custodians of our own culture. And because we are custodians of our culture, every silhouette of ours must have something that still reminds us nostalgically of who we are. Whether it's in the colors, whether it's in the earthiness, whether it's in the silhouettes, whatever, it must remind us of who we are. I found that sometimes when I go to different parts of the world, some pieces call to me. And usually when pieces call to me, they call to me because they resonate with who I am or what my culture is. I don't just pick up bland pieces because I'm not that person. And so the energy I have in me must resonate with what even if it's the quirkiness of the cut or if there's a fluidity. Some clothes these days, a lot of people now use things with a lot of drape and things like that. Yeah, the drape is resonant of our wrapper. The drape is resonant of how the Igbo men used to tie their wrapper up on their shoulders when they come out to brush their teeth. Those kind of things, those things remind you of your culture. And then you see that that's what draws you to it.
Yeah.
Like attracts like. You go towards it and you think, what is it that
It's calling me. Yes.
But if you sit down later, you think, okay.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, that is it. And so we must celebrate that because we must put up mirrors of things that look like us. Because that's what helps the generation that comes behind us. And that's what helps them stay proudly African or uniquely who we are. Otherwise, we become a lost race or a lost culture, and we don't want to be that.
Exactly. That's what we do here at Bridging the Gap. We try as much as possible to bridge that knowledge gap between, the previous generation and generation after, so that nothing is lost. You're able to proudly say, oh, I know this because this is what we used to do, So it's very admirable. Thank you.
It is. Thank you too. Thank you too. Thank you too.
Thank you.
They tell you that if a hunter does not tell his story, right? Or how is that proverb said? That when you go into the forest, is the animal cannot tell the story. It's only the hunter that can tell the story. So if you tell the story for us, then people that come behind us are able to. And that's what we also hope to do in our archives in the brand, to be able to get people to sit back and come into this industry, come into their love for Africa and stand by it, and stand by our culture. So
absolutely beautiful. So earlier on, when we were talking about the brand, you had mentioned that there were two parts to the Odiomimonet brand. We have the Voyage collection, and then we also have the Mimi collection, right? So the Mimi is the ready-to-wear, right?
So Voyage is ready to wear, Mimi is ready to wear.
Oh, they're both ready to wear.
They're both ready to wear. Mimi, if you remember in your last question that you're asking, Mimi is the diffusion.
Diffusion, yes.
Yes.
So can you shed more light on that? What can we expect from the Mimi collection if you were to describe it? Because you've done an excellent job of explaining the Voyage. So the Mimi, how would you describe her? So
the Voyage is the fully grown adult girl.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's the ready to wear. The Mimi is still the young girl. She's still the traveler.
Playful.
She's a bit more playful.
Okay.
She would wear extra baggy pants.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a shorter skirt. She has a lot more laughter in her, and that shows through in her clothes.
Okay.
And this year we hope to launch Tyro, which is the male, and that's going to be great. 30 years, so the men will have a little bit of our culture on their back, and they'll be able to walk around with it. Let's ignite pieces, and then let's see.
That's exciting. I can't tell you how many men have literally reached out to me like, okay, you always do something for the women. Can we get some brands for the men?
Yeah.
So this is beautiful, and we are excited about this. I can't wait to see what that will entail. But I have, without a doubt, I know that it's going to be beautiful.
Good. So all the men them.
Yeah, so the men them
Buy some, get some.
so dear, the height of VI.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So in terms of legacy, what would you say the legacy you have in mind for Odiomimonet?
My prayer. Beyond legacy, my prayer is for the brand to be transgenerational. We want a brand that answers the call for many, many generations. We want a house of Odio. Like you have a house of Dior, we want a house of Gucci. Like how you have a house of Gucci, we want a house of Odio. That might be owned by many people that are not my family members, many people that are not my generation, anything. We pray that the legacy of our arts and our culture that we spread along would stay true. I want every every woman, black or white, and every man, black or white, that seeks to buy an interesting piece of something when he wakes up thinks, Odio. That's the legacy we want. That's one of the legacies we want. And more so, we also want a brand that speaks to our culture and has footprints of our culture embodied in the soil, so that people would remember and people would have, as far as things we wore, things how we wore them, the reason why they wore them, those kind of legacies. We want people to keep our traditions in different ways. Yeah, my dream is for Odiomimonet to be a cultural artist, and we're working towards it, and we continue to work towards it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, 30 years this year.
Yeah.
No easy feat at all. Is there anything that you plan on doing to celebrate 30?
Oh, we're going to keep it on the wraps.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, we're going to do quite a few things this year. We'll also quite a few things. And we've always mentored people, but we want to probably make it a platform for mentoring.
Beautiful.
Stronger, so that people can have access to us and have access to all my ideas that have stored away in my archives. So we're doing a compilation of that. And hopefully, let's see how that goes. So we're putting it in place. So
that was beautiful. I was actually, while I was preparing for a meeting today, I had done some research and I had seen some of the amazing work in terms of CSR projects that you had worked on and trainings and things like that. So it's always very admirable to see someone that is not only doing the fashion, but you're also giving back to society. So this is very helpful for our viewers in terms of people that are looking to start business, but they don't know where to start, or, they might have various questions or something. So this will be a great opportunity for them to stay locked in on the Odiomimonet platforms, so that you will have a great idea of when to apply for these opportunities as well.
So look out for that, because we should have that soon.
Okay.
So look out for that. And honestly, for fashion, the ecosystem of fashion in itself is so wide that sometimes being a designer is great, but being a textile designer
It's different.
is great too.
Yeah.
And being a designer of other things that go into the process is also amazing. So I think our world is large. Our world is much bigger than it used to be. Now we have web designers. Now we have fashion industry. We have so many people in this top gap that honestly we can move together as a team, and I think the ecosystem in itself has a lot of room for everybody.
Absolutely. Together we go further.
Yes.
That's the reality of it. Once we can make that decision to stay united, like it's a beautiful thing. So thank you. So, obviously 30 years, I'm sorry I keep on emphasizing it because it's not a joke.
No,
But for the viewers that are looking to start a business or are just curious to know about some of the possible challenges that they might have to come across, there's just some things that you might not be able to avoid, even as a business owner, beyond even just being a fashion designer. Do you have any tips that you'd like to share in terms of some of the challenges that you were able to overcome?
Okay, so because you're also working in a space that's very peculiar to us, we're working in our African space and our Nigerian space. And in Nigeria, the designer is sometimes the CEO. The designer is also the great mathematician at the back. The designer is also the human resource total manager. The designer is also, what's the other guy that keeps the stock? Is the guy that buys and, manages the flow of, for inventory and all that. So I'll say build your team. I'll say surround yourself with people that you think are eager to learn, but more important, best attitude, because people that have great attitude learn better. So sometimes it's not who comes to you with the best talent, but it's who comes to you sometimes with the better attitude. That's that weighs through. But I think for most people would be just keep it going. Keep it going. So you find that you will get a lot of disappointments as you go along the way. But if I can impart every staff that has come my way with some love, if I can impart her positively or he positively, even if he goes away tomorrow, it takes away a bit of the brands. It takes away a bit of the culture. I have staff that have worked for me that have sent me letters and sent me texts. Oh, madam, so happy to have worked with you. Everything you've told us is coming. I even seen someone I go abroad now. I saw them working in Harrods and things, and they come up to me, hug me. Oh my God, Auntie, you taught us so well. Thank you for everything. Because that discipline and that rigor, keep passing it on. Keep passing it on. Keep passing it on. And eventually, you have trained a race of people. Eventually, you have trained a large collection of people. As they come through you, just keep being true to who you are and being true to the values you're trying to pass on. And before you know it, you had a bouquet of people that have gone out there with those values. And then you've touched many more people than you think. Because you've touched them. And insofar as you can touch people and they can touch others, then that essence that you're trying to push goes through. So I think that's a tip I would say, and I'll say to most people, if you really want to do it, please do it. Keep resilient, wake up every morning, push yourself, pray, of course, write down things, wake up every morning and speak to yourself positively, and that way you get through the day. So I think that's the best I can say.
Awesome. Very well said. Thank you so much.
Thank you, KJ.
All right, so I think for the most part, we have covered so many different aspects of the business. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And we look forward to the 30-year celebration.
Yes.
And we look forward to just seeing how amazing this brand will continue to do.
Thank you. And the men then? Yes, no, me too.
Absolutely. We're excited about the men's collection for sure. So we'll be sure to.
So thank you, Teju.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Bye-bye.